Live. Listen, I apologize. I thought I was live. I'm just now going live. So, hey, forgive me. But I'm here. I'm joined by our sister Janelle, and we was just talking about the image of the black woman. It all started for those that you missed the conversation, of course, because I'm sitting up here talking. I'm new at this thing. I'm sitting up here talking, thinking that I'm broadcasting, but I wasn't broadcasting. So now, let me go ahead.
Now I see live on my screen.
That's what I'm saying. Now we live. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So now
Hello.
our discussion started talking about Tommy Sotomayor and his message. And the piece that I stated was the brother is harsh, but you really got to sit down and listen to what he's saying, because for some reason people want to feel comfortable in being where they are. Where if we as black people are going to move, we have to be made to be felt uncomfortable. And for me, the black woman is the center of all of our change. The black woman is the center of the culture. And Miss Janelle just started, and I'm gonna let her finish. She started talking about how the image of the black woman is being assassinated. So go ahead, Miss Janelle.
And it's by design. I do want to say that. So when you say that black woman, it makes perfect sense why there is an attack going on against the black woman. But for several months now, I have noticed an influx of negative images or in negative portrayals of black women. Black women, children, black women beating their children, black women in the way they dress. It just seems to look incompetent. And so I've been watching this, and I was just sharing that an example was that I was just on Facebook a moment ago on a quote unquote conscious platform that I am a part of, and one of the people shared a picture of a black woman, an African American woman, dancing on what looked like a portable a stage with a stripper pole. And so she's out in the open and she's dancing, and there are children there. And so my first response is that because my people don't know about propaganda, they don't know the dangers in posting these images. And what is happening when we post and repost these images are burning into our psyche. And again, this propaganda is what's helping to assassinate the black woman. And where people are posting this saying, "Oh, this makes no sense. You know, look at this. This is shameful." They don't understand that every time they repost it and share that image, they're helping to assassinate. They're helping. I'm going to say white supremacists.
All right, now hold on. This is my show. I want to introduce a new word. The word of the day is white inferiority. I can't say it as these big lips, but that white inferiority, because basically what we call white supremacy is basically a mental illness of a group of people who actually feel that they're supreme when they really are not supreme. Yes, they got us politically, but we can change that. You know what I'm saying? Because we have demonstrated that anything we get into, we shine at it. You know what I'm saying? So we got to be clear on that. So let's change some of that language now. But go ahead. Finish your point.
The term hegemony as well. So I'm not a fan of the word word white supremacy either. I prefer the term hegemony. But it's kind of the same difference. But we are helping the enemy every time videos or we post these images and these negative portrayals of black women. We are helping to assassinate our character. We are helping to assassinate our image, assassinate our image. And this is the current agenda. So there was an agenda to feminize the black men, and now we moved into another. Um, Now we're moving, progressing beyond that, and now the goal is to assassinate the black woman's character, to assassinate her image, to make her look incompetent. And I just want I just want everyone to acknowledge and understand that this is the state that we're in right now.
Now, but this is my question. All those are self-posted. The very people that we saying are the victims are posting this bullshit.
So they'll post it, and then we'll repost it.
Yeah, and it becomes viral. See, and this is the piece where I fall out with a lot of people, because this the point I'm coming from. When I talk about the black woman in consciousness, because I tell this story over and over again, our civilization is based on a single mother. It ain't just now. This just didn't start happening now. Our ancestors talked about this in the distant past with Asar, Aset, and Heru. It was the same phenomena. A single woman had to raise the family. So now this is the piece, because a lot of people get mad at Tommy Sotomayor, because the whole piece is, well, you need to boost up the black women. Yeah, some of us need to do that, but some of us need to be pointing out some of this bullshit that is being allowed. You understand what I'm saying?
I agree.
And people get uncomfortable with that. Like, for example, one of the major pieces that Tommy Sotomayor talk about and is the hair. The hair. You know what I'm saying? Our hair is our crown. But you look at a majority of black women, and they're doing everything to hide their hair. When in fact, if we was to turn around and really look at the hair, our hair could liberate us. And I know people listening saying, that shit's crazy, Brother Hot Tim. No, what I'm saying is, if hair is a $7 billion business, we spending $7 billion on all the hair care products that we do, all the hair care that we do. We spending $7 billion on that shit. What if we was to refuse to buy any products from any other people other than ourselves? What if we was to perfect working with our hair? Because our hair is not difficult to work with. Our hair is more difficult to work with than anybody else. We just got to take the time, and we have to master it. We got to take care of it. We got to do the things necessary to get it to work. Within that, we'll be able to create all types of businesses to really support some of us. You understand what I'm saying?
You're speaking economics, and it's just, I feel like it's just not the hair care. I feel like
what I'm talking about is one piece. I know there's many pieces, but
yeah,
we have to address, because think about this. When you deal with your hair, you're dealing with more than just economics. When you deal with your hair, you're dealing with more than just economics. When you take a black person's hair that is unstraightened, it coils up, and it looks like our hair is deep, and we're destroying it. Either
I agree.
As men, we're cutting it off, or as women, we're hiding it. Our hair is our crowns, and we are destroying it. Our hair is, some people tell us, is our connection, are our antennas. And if we're covering our antennas, how can we ever hear the call of the universe? You feel me or no?
I do feel you. So if before we go to the hair, before I campaign, or before I go to encouraging women to take off their hair or stop covering their hair, is it safe to say I must first build them up from the inside? I must first. There's some other things that must go on before I mean, and that will take, and then that will ensure that this person will uncover their hair, because they will not. What did you say? They won't be the same anymore, right? So anymore. We talked about educating. We talked about the enlightening individuals. Once you receive that information, once you've been parted with that information, maybe you won't be the same, and maybe you won't see a need to cover your hair.
But
So
let me say this. I'm gonna say this as in a sense to challenge to that. We the information is out there. The information has been out there for the last 35 years.
with
People
regard,
have spoke to us. People have talked to us. You know, I mean, the bottom line is information don't move people. Giving them information don't move them.
I disagree.
Okay, go ahead. I mean, prove me wrong.
I say there's things that must take place in order for a revolution, in
Hmm.
order for a revolution to occur.
Right?
And empowerment and enlightenment are at the top of that list.
That I
So
disagree. You name one revolution that ever happened because of enlightenment. Most
um,
revolutions happen because of frustration.
will we say that will we say that like the Harlem Renaissance, we call it the Harlem Renaissance, but we know
Right.
this was a Renaissance. Will we say that the Black Renaissance occurred, and the
Right.
changes that have technology and the things, our inventions and things that we were able to put together and do in order to create a new image for Black people here, and will we say that that was not enlightenment?
That wasn't enlightenment. That whole movement, I'm gonna say, and this is my opinion, and it's just opinion, and hopefully somebody out there that'll catch the broadcast live or somebody later. The Harlem Renaissance was about arts. It was a lot of art, and what do art affect? Art doesn't affect the intellect.
It was more the Harlem Renaissance was much more than art, sir.
What was it?
You have writers, you have poetry,
Right,
you
that's art.
you have music,
That's art.
and all of these things enlighten you.
Now, yeah, but how do they enlighten? Music don't enlighten. Music doesn't enlighten you necessarily by making you think. It moves you emotionally. All these things, art moves emotions. You don't buy an art piece so that you could think about it. You buy an art piece because it moves you. You don't like a poem because it's big intelligent words. You buy a poem because it moves you. You don't go listen to a poet that's just gonna hit you with a bunch of facts. You know what I'm saying? You go to college for that. The Harlem Renaissance was based on moving people emotionally. They came up with poems and they came up with songs that made people proud of being black and made people want to do research. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm.
Revolutions are moved, renaissances and revolutions happen because people are moved emotionally. And then the intellect catches up. Hopefully. Hopefully.
Okay, so here we go. You said the information. You put out the information,
Hmm.
and people are moved. They're going to be moved.
No, you got to put the information out properly. And it's not to move the intellect, it's to move the emotions. It's to
You
touch. That's why they call it to touch somebody. Have you ever heard a song that touched you?
plenty.
Right. So now, what we have to do is we have to find ways to touch people because this how powerful we are on of America, and by the end of the summer it'll be on the west coast of America. This is before the internet. Saying
Hmm.
that dance moves people emotionally. Then nobody's sitting down there writing down the steps. Nobody's sitting down there analyzing. Nobody's sitting down there analyzing the steps. It's a vibration that moves people. And what we have to do is we have to start, and we already got that science. We know how to do that. We're just
I
not
think,
using it because I remember hip hop in its genesis. As a matter of fact, I can remember the summer that hip hop went bad. It was the summer of 1989. 1989 is the number. Another summer. I remember at the end of the summer of 1989, hip hop went from consciousness almost overnight for me to being shit hot, as brother Griff, Professor Griff, and Black Dot called it. You know what I'm saying? It went from the revolutionary piece over summertime to all this gangster shit. And you start seeing brothers start to move into the gangster shit. Not because they necessarily thought about being gangsters, but the emotions of the music and the lyrics of the music help move them into that. And what I'm saying is, far as the women, we don't have to necessarily educate them to come sit down in the class and listen. Hell, we got Facebook.
You're using the word educate, and notice I say enlighten. So I think that when you are enlightened, you are emotional. It's not that you have, not only do you have the information, but you're moved to use the information. You're thinking differently. So for me, enlightenment is bigger than just thinking. It's acting. And so I think that's what I mean when I say enlightened. Like, I know a lot of conscious people who are not enlightened. They know, but they don't act.
So now, all right, cool. This is the question then. How do we get people to move? I mean, okay, what's the process of enlightenment?
Just what you just said.
Oh, so you're gonna take my shit and put it in yours.
But what did you just say? You said make people.
I don't know. That's why I record shit. I don't know what I say half the time. It just flows. I flow. I mean, you know what I'm saying? This is called freestyle. This is what I do.
Some time ago, I started this show, 2 hours to empower, and my goal was to enlighten and empower. Now, what ended up happening is just what Sotomayor. How do you say his last name?
Sotomayor. SOTO. For those that's interested, is TJ Sotomayor. SOTOMAYOR. Now hold on, but before you big up him, right? Because I personally like to listen to him. Before you say and say anything towards that, I want you to listen to him first.
But I'm gonna say, I feel you.
Because you're gonna be mad as hell. But go ahead.
Because there are my people that I call uncommon sense. It's counterproductive to the progression of my people. Uncommon sense. And the reason why I persist is because my people won't point it out and say bull crap. Bull crap. My people, even the people who don't agree with it, they're silent. They won't speak up. So I equate them to white people who are not racist, but will not speak up against racism. All right. So they too, I feel like either you're the solution or you are the problem. There's no you're part of the problem. You are the problem. So when my people won't speak up against foolishness, when they make excuses, when they ignore because they're not a part of it or it's not something they do, and they turn them, that's counterproductive to the progression of my people. So I'm gonna give you an example. I hate to go off topic.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna
this freestyle, girl. Go ahead.
We right now have a hands up. movement, or is that what it's called? Hands up,
Hands up, don't shoot.
hands up, don't shoot. Okay,
Hands up, don't shoot me.
okay. We have, I've been working in with youth since 2000, before 2003, and the youth that I years, I've seen so many die. I've seen so many go to jail. The ones that were murdered were not murdered by white cops. White cops. They were murdered by black, mostly black men. If we look at
Right.
statistics, Columbus, Ohio alone, the majority of the black men were killed by other men. Now I have black men dead and in jail, period. So my thing is, we will unite. Now, and I understand different states, different cities have different issues. My issue
Right.
here in may not be the issue in Baltimore, or may not be the issue in Plano, Texas, or Detroit. It may not be the same issue, but I have an issue here in Columbus, Ohio, and my young people's fascination with guns. Just today, one of my students told me, "You are the man, not only by how much money you have, but how many guns you own." So now my people, my young people, they are fascinated with guns, and they unleash this violence on other people who look like them. So every other week here in my city, we're burying it. We have an issue here. When I speak up, people get upset. People get upset. They don't want me to talk.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to use the term black on black for lack of a better term. I'm going to talk about the black on black crime. They want to, when as soon as I bring it up, they want to say, well, white people kill white people. Or just recently, what happened with the biker club, they want to bring that up. But that's not my community. That's not my community. That's somebody else's problem. That doesn't make what goes on in my community right. So I'm waiting on people to get outraged at the fact that we have kids all over our social medias posting guns. The fact that we have 14-year-olds committing murder, right? I want people to be outraged about this in our community. But we're so fast. We're so interested in what's going on in other communities. Now, if the police are shooting down people, because I know in places like Baltimore, and there's several other cities who have historically they've had problems with the police, and I'm saying I understand that to be your campaign there, but in places like here, like Chicago, that's not our issue. Not in our community. We have to start where we are. But every time I bring this up now, this is what they say. I'm an Uncle Tom is.
You're right?
Uncle Tom, because I'm taking. They feel like I'm taking the white people's stance. I'm pointing out what we're doing wrong instead of pointing out what the white people are doing wrong. I'm putting the problem on us instead of putting.
So you said that you're being viewed as an Uncle Tom because you the issues that are going on with us.
My people should fix. When black folks went in that mall, when black folks went in that mall last year, and when blacks, and I'm just not gonna say black. It looked like it was all black folks. I seen the pictures. I'm sure other people seen. They were off their hinges to get Jordans. I was wrong that up. Oh, because they wanted to say, well, white people do the same thing on Black Friday. That has nothing to do with me. Their image doesn't reflect onto me. I'm more concerned about my people and our image.
Right.
Not. And so,
how dare you be concerned? How dare you be concerned about our image?
Mm-hmm.
How dare you?
How dare? Why not compare?
Why you care about what people think about us? I'm just being sarcastic, baby. But go ahead.
But really, they want to compare us to white people doing black. And I keep telling them those are. I'm not concerned about what the shopping on the black. What they do. I'm talking about what we. and what hinders our progression as preoccupied with things that don't matter. And before we start fixing what other people do, we need to take a deep look at ourselves. Start what we can help. Start where we're at. So nobody wants to talk about the fact that we're burying every other week here in our city.
We burying kids. Once again, that you brought up the point, we're burying kids who are being murdered by other black kids. There's no Black Lives Matter when it comes to us killing each other. There's no hands up, don't shoot when it comes to us shoot one another. There's no mothers against niggas with guns in our community type shit. That's manga. Mothers against niggas with guns, mananga, or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But the point that I'm trying to make is that when it comes to us turning and looking at us,
there's a problem.
Because that goes back to what I was talking about at the beginning. It's uncomfortable. And people that talks about that become a threat. Because some people make money. They back in the day, back in the 70s, they used to call them poverty pimps. You know what I'm saying? Because when you have poverty, you have certain issues that come out. There's certain things that's going to happen regardless of what the community is. If there's poverty, there's certain things that's going to happen. One of them is crime. You know what I'm saying? A major one is crime. A lot of stuff having to do with sicknesses and things like that. There's money to be made off of poverty. So you got to keep a part of the population in poverty. It just so happened that it's almost as if black folks volunteered to be, at least black folks in America have volunteered to be, or have been marginalized into a position where we become permanent underclass, as Claude Anderson described it. As he said years ago that if we did not get our stuff together, we would be a permanent underclass in America.
And you know how to this? You know how to
You say what?
perpetuate this?
How do they, and let's define they, because that's one of those terms that
those who control wealth,
how do they perpetuate it? Hello? All right. It looked like she might have dropped off. Yeah, she dropped the call, but she'll come back. But we was having a real good conversation, and I was hoping some more people would join us. I've been sending out text messages and stuff, but it seems like some of my people, are scared to come out. I'm about to send them a text message. Come on out. Stop being scared. Because the only way that we're going to move people is to get them moved with some emotion, and then get them to start teaching them how to get the thoughts behind the emotion. So I'm going to start having these conversations because I'm starting to like this hangout thing. But it's interesting how Miss Janelle brought up the point that when she started addressing the issues that were going on and that are in a sense sparked by us. Now, we could always talk about they. We could always talk about people controlling things and making things happen. But in every situation, we always got to remember we have a choice. We have choices. Our children have choices, and we need to. And those with our parents, you need to start teach your children how to make choices and start letting them know that they have choices. You know what I'm saying? But we start acting like we don't have choices. I don't have no choice. The only thing I could do is get out here and sell dope. The only thing you know what I'm saying? And that shit, we allowed that to perpetuate to a point now where our community is being overrun. You know what I'm saying? It's a shame when you live in a neighborhood, because ain't even a neighborhood. You live in a hood where you can't even allow your children to go out and play. Because the images that we have been feeding ourselves, because being poor is nothing new to us. Being in oppression is nothing new to us. We've been going through this for 2,000 years, and for long periods of time, we've been able to do this with character. We done lost character. We done lost values. We done surrendered them, and we allowed them to be bought. You know what I'm saying? Rather than being men and women and educating our kids, because they go to other people's schools for 8 hours a day. We need to make sure that we're at least getting them at least every other weekend. If we can't get them every weekend, and start putting our stuff into them, and start putting our stuff into each other, and start developing the relationships that it's going to take for us to move up out of here. Now, another piece that I really want us to start talking about, and hopefully Sister Janelle will be able to join. She on the line right now. Click back in. Let me tell her to click back in. We have people trying to deal with stuff that they have absolutely no control over, right? And one of the things that we need to make sure that we teach ourselves, we start practicing ourselves, start teaching our children, is to learn to control everything in your world, everything in your 3-foot world. Like, we got kids. I work with kids, and one of the things that I notice is that a lot of the children want to control everything around them. They want to control the teacher. They want to control all their friends. And I know a lot of adults like that. They want to control everything. When they can't control everything, they shut down. And that's what's, in a sense, happening to a lot of us. When, in fact, the only thing we can control is us, our personal space, and everything within 3 feet around us. If we start learning how to control things in our pocket of the world, and we learn to control them perfectly in that 3-foot world, that 3-foot world will extend to 6 feet. And when we master the 6 feet, it'll extend to 18 feet. And if you got a whole group of people around you that's doing the same thing, as you grow and you're able to control more things around you in your area will cross over into other people's area, and then y'all will be able to work things together. We can't control our communities. We don't even have communities. I know people don't like hearing that. We don't really have communities. So right now, I'm going to go and send Miss Chanel another invite so she can get back on here. So I just sent it out. Hopefully she'll get it and she'll come back in, because I don't know what's going on. But this is Brother Hatim. This is Gye-Nyame Journey Radio. I'd like to welcome you. Feel free to step in if you. Oh, there you go. You back?
Hey.
I don't like being hung up on, lady. I don't know what's going on, but you better get a.
Oh, look. I'm learning.
Me too. And like I said, I can't wait to integrate this with the podcast. And then as when I grow to the next level, I'm gonna be able to do this and podcast. So I'll be broadcasting the show and being able to on Spreaker the Hangout. You were.
Mm-hmm. They are able to help preoccupy us, our minds. So we are so fascinated with the social media, the videos, TV. They keep us wrapped up in all those things that don't matter, watching their shows that degrade us. Again, looking glass self, we're watching these images and we're thinking this is how we're supposed to act. This is who we're supposed to be. This is what it means to be black. So they have helped condition us. We are preoccupied with all things that don't matter. And that is how it is. I mean, that's why it's possible for us to bring about the change that is necessary. Because we're preoccupied. My people are preoccupied with all things that don't. If all this, I have this saying, and it says, if we want change, we have to keep more of it in our pocket. They convinced us, yes, they convinced us that we need things, capital THINGS, all caps. They convinced us that we need things that we don't need. So we spend money we don't have on things we don't need.
Mm.
And that's broke. And then,
You know that makes a lot of sense. And maybe part of the reason that we have problems is because we're trying to make sense. You know what I'm saying? You can't make no damn. You can't make sense. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like it's almost like nobody listening to you. That you trying to make sense, Mr. Now. You trying to make sense. They're not listening. You know what I'm saying? You ain't showing your ass, Mr. Now. I ain't walking around sagging pants and shit. So you know I'm not down with the culture. You still there? You done dropped off again? Mr. Nair. All right. So I'm still working on it. I'm gonna perfect this and get it together. I don't know what's going on with hers. Hi, no, I don't want to. I don't understand what's going on. Going on here? Hello? Oh, look like somebody talking right. Hello? Check one, check two. What's going on? Hello? Check, check, check. Okay, now I'm back up. I don't know what happened, but I'm gonna send her another link so she get back in. Um, that's just the thing with this stuff right here. So I just invited her in. I'm gonna turn down just a little bit. All right, so here we go. Now she was bringing up some real good points. I don't remember what she left off on. But hey, I'm gonna give her a couple more minutes to get back in. But if not, man, listen, I really, really enjoyed this. I'm going to make this a part of on the journey. I'm looking forward to hooking up with some of y'all because I might do my podcast, cut my podcast, and go straight to the live conversation after the podcast. After I get done cussing people out and shit, you know, allow you to come and voice your view. I mean, you know, voice what you thought about what we was talking about. So I sent out the link, and I had one person uh, come in, and I appreciated her showing up, and I appreciate all y'all, whether you directly or indirectly. I done figured out how to do the broadcast, and now I know how to mix it with the podcast, and we are about to move. Now, I want you to start checking some of the stuff out we got on YouTube. I'm updating a lot of the podcasts. I know I got, but YouTube has shown me that it is a valuable tool that can be used to help spread the message of self mastery. Um, I guess she fell off all the way, and say peace. I'd like to thank everybody that's listened, that tuned in, and I'd like to thank everybody that will listen in the future. And remember, subscribe to the journey, so I can put you on the list. And whenever I'm gonna do a live show, um, you can feel free to tune in because I love engaging with you. I love learning because this is the only way we could grow. All right. Remember, if there's no struggle, there's no progress. Always remember that. All right. And this is Brother Hatim, and I am going to end the call. Peace.